I don't know what you would want to talk about. I could quickly take some notes so that I can. This is a little bit more back and forth if it needs to be,
Sure, yeah.
or if it's just like, hey, I want to talk about this, and this is all that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, what are you feeling?
Advice. Well, I mean, I can't help but look back on the experience from just from like this high level kind of view,
Mm-hmm.
and like even going through talking through the story with you just now, like I do see things from a very high perspective, and
Yeah.
um, I can dive down into the fine details, but that's how I view most things. I think in life from that kind of high perspective. Some of the time, so I do think that I have some things that would be beneficial for people to hear and just to
Mm-hmm.
think about at least.
Yeah.
I'm always cautious to give advice to people because advice it's so like subjective
Yeah.
and based on your own experience for the
Yeah.
most part, right? So it's really
Situational.
it's really hard to everyone's advice is always it's always based on their experience and it might not necessarily benefit you. So
Yeah.
with that being said, if I had advice, we'll just start with just people in general, not even someone experiencing loss or who's having trouble otherwise. Just knowing that everybody is going through something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's I think the biggest thing that I learned is everyone has something going on. Everyone is carrying a weight around that you can't see
Yeah.
and that you don't know how heavy it is, right? So, and I learned that mostly when I would just again see Catherine walking around the world and seeing people. She's walking around. She's clearly pregnant, and while she's carrying around all of this sadness inside of her, and while she is looking around at all these other people who have babies or are pregnant, there are people who are looking at her, and all they see is somebody who's pregnant.
Yeah.
And those people might be people who can't get pregnant or won't ever be able to get pregnant. And, there's someone is always carrying some kind of a weight around. And, no matter what circumstance you are in life, there is always somebody who wishes they were where you are. You
Yeah.
are always living somebody else's dream, you
Yeah.
know. And while we were going through something that was very horrible and sad, there are people that would give everything to just be pregnant,
Yeah.
you know. And that really kind of changed my perspective on things was, there's always somebody who wishes that they were where you are, and everyone is carrying around a weight of some
Yeah.
kind that you can't see.
Yeah, and I really quite enjoyed how you were talking about how even though Catherine looked like she was pregnant, outward appearances may show and tell us one thing, but in reality the situation is completely different. And
Yeah.
to not necessarily take every situation at the outward face value. Like
Hmm.
as you said, everybody has something. Everybody has a albatross hung around their neck that they're dragging around life with.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if we could have a little bit more compassion, and I guess compassion and forgiveness and grace for everybody, we shouldn't necessarily be having to tell people and remind people that, but we
No, I know
should.
it's
Yeah,
it's so true though. Like
yeah,
the person who you come across and they're angry and they're mad or they're just whatever. Like you have no idea
yeah,
what's going on, right? So this experience does teach you to just be patient and try and be a little more understanding
yeah,
and just step back from the situation and look at it from the higher perspective and just consider where the other person is in life,
yeah,
consider what they could be going through, right? So, and just, talking to some people about this experience, when you do open up about what's going on, like, you learn things about people. You learn that, oh, they've gone through similar things or,
yeah,
traumatic things in life. And yeah, it's just really worthwhile to just, always remember in the back of your mind that somebody is always going through something.
yeah,
So that's, I think, a really, really, key piece of advice is just to always know. And I was able to, learn that a couple of coworkers, well, not a couple, one coworker of mine in particular, had also gone through a loss during pregnancy, and this person was, very understanding, and they just all they did one day was just come into my office and just give me a hug, and it was really, this the most perfect thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they just understood, they know you're carrying around this huge weight, and they know that all they have to do is just be there. And that
Hmm.
kind of leads into this, my next advice is just be there. you know um
Yeah.
Afterwards, we got, after we delivered and came home, like in the coming weeks, I'm sure we had like 40 bouquets of flowers around the house, people to send flowers, right? That's just what you do,
Yeah.
right? That's just what you do. And that while that was all very nice, when you're going through an event like that, some kind of loss or something that really disrupts your normal day-to-day activities, like the really helpful thing to do, if people are looking for something, because people are always like,
Yeah.
oh, let me know what I can do, right? That's the
Yeah.
standard thing. Oh, let me know what I can do. Well, why are you going to place that burden on
Yeah.
me to tell you what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just be helpful, right? And I think the biggest thing people can do is, again, just be there, show up, knock on the door, ask questions, just ask about it.
Yeah.
Like we said at the very start, like, for some reason people think that by asking questions, you're going to somehow magically remind us that we're going through this horrible thing or have gone through this horrible thing. Well, no, this horrible thing is here. It's a part of
Yeah.
us, right? We carry it with us always. And simply talking about it is extremely therapeutic, and it's very helpful. So people should
Yeah.
just show up and talk, and if they're going to bring something, bring bring food, or bring, groceries,
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Be helpful. Buy someone a couple hours of like a house cleaner or something, right? Just to make those very important day-to-day tasks just easier,
Just a
right?
little bit easier. Yeah.
Just a little bit easier. Yep. And just, the random acts of kindness are really nice. I learned that people really surprise you when you go through, when you're in the trenches of life. The people that are in your life, they really surprise you.
Yeah.
Some in
And
disappointing ways, and some in not. Right.
yeah.
My experience has been that some friends, or people who you thought were really good friends, weren't there, didn't show up, or didn't know how to show up. And some people who didn't think were that great of friends, some of them showed up and made an effort. And I had a neighbor who I really didn't know well at the time, and he just walked over one day and handed us a bottle of wine and a bottle of whiskey. And I mean, that made Catherine almost cry, because it was just such a randomly
Yeah.
nice thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And compared to some of the other people that we know in life who really struggle to find a way to be there, it was just really nice. And we don't hold grudges against people. We're not angry,
Yeah.
but we just notice who was able to make an effort and who wasn't. So again, just show up, knock on the door, and ask
Yeah.
questions. Be interested, and don't be scared to talk about it. You
Yeah.
know.
And can I say something just for myself? People who just show up, you don't even have to bring anything. Like
Mm-mm.
it's nice. It's nice if you do. It's nice if you, as you said, bring food or bring whatever. But the sheer fact that other people just show up and say, "Hey, a hug." You've mentioned a hug a couple of times, and a hug at the right moment, at any moment, is greatly appreciated.
It is, yeah. It's often the most effective thing you could
Yeah.
do. And yeah, I didn't mean that
Oh yeah,
you should
yeah.
bring
Oh,
food.
oh yeah.
Like, if you're gonna bring
Yeah,
flowers, maybe bring groceries instead.
yeah,
But again, like you said, you don't have to bring anything.
yeah.
Just bring your love, right? Just
Yeah.
bring your
And
love.
I think a lot of people get hung up with like, oh, I need to do something above and beyond, so I'm not going to do anything because I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
The sheer
yeah,
fact, like if you just come and sit with me for 10 minutes, that is good enough.
it is.
And if
Yeah,
there's anything
honest.
else, just wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, just sitting and talking and being
Yeah.
interested and wanting to hear, the story and wanting to know them. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's really the most meaningful thing that people can do.
Yeah.
I think is just
Yeah.
be there and just show love in that way. Ask questions.
Yeah.
Yep, for
And
sure.
when our son passed away, at first there was a lot of people in our neighborhood. In regionally, it's called meal trains, or people bring food and stuff, and that tapers off. And
Hmm.
over time, people sort of forget.
They do.
They
Yeah, yeah,
they move on, and we're trying to figure out how to move forward. And it's good just to have somebody remember every once in a while. Just say, hey,
yeah.
how's your daughters? How have you been doing since then? Or how?
Exactly. And it's been some time, right? It's been a little over 2 years, and yeah, people do forget.
Yeah.
The world, the sun will come up tomorrow,
Yep.
no matter what happens today, right? The sun will always
Yep.
come up, and people move on, people forget. So it's really, you're really saddled with, maintaining the memory of your lost kids all kind of
Yeah.
by yourself. And it is
Yeah.
nice to just once in a while, doesn't need to be all the time. Once
Yeah.
in a while, just ask, hey, how are the girls doing? How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
It means so much.
Somebody told me the other day that your most important thing in your life is not the most important thing to most other people.
Yeah,
And I thought about that, and because it's been 5 years since we lost our son, and we've had another child, and our three children are the most important things to us. But in reality, outside of our family, they're just children to other people.
it's true.
And
Yeah,
it's
they,
like,
they are, and
yeah,
and is
but
I mean, that's just the way it is.
yeah,
You know.
but it's great when somebody says, "Hey, was thinking about you guys, thinking about all of your children. Yeah,
Yeah,
here's a
that
here's a
means a
good
lot.
hug." Yeah. So,
It really does, and just knowing that everyone's like grief isn't relative.
yeah.
Grief is subjective. So along with knowing that everyone's carrying their own weight around, knowing that to that particular person, the thing they're going through could be the worst thing
Yeah.
that they've ever experienced, right? And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if they, dropped their coffee on the floor that morning, or if they had to put their dog down, or if their dad died. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's the worst thing that's happened to them. It's the worst thing,
Yeah.
and grief is not relative.
Yeah. You can't really compare grief,
No,
you know, as you
no,
said.
you can't.
What's bad for me might not be bad for somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And advice. So I guess that advice is kind of just advice for people going through grief, advice for people knowing people who are in grief. And I guess for if I had advice for parents or parents to be or parents who are pregnant, whenever you go buy a house or buy a car, you make the payment, you buy the house, buy the car, and the first thing you go do is buy insurance. First thing you do is write the check for the insurance. And nobody wants to think about what can happen. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to think about crashing the car or burning the house down
Yeah.
or losing a child or losing a baby or having a stillborn baby unexpectedly. Nobody wants to think about those
Yeah.
things. But if I had advice for parents to be, I would say, in some at some level, you should plan for the worst in some way, even if that means just having a phone number on your phone that you can call if something awful does happen. There's a lot of really great organizations, at least in Saskatoon in particular. They're called Empty Arms, and they're just a fantastic resource for parents who are going through loss or are expecting to be going through loss. And they provided such excellent services to us, and they think of things, or they thought of things that we would just never have.
Mm.
They really had, the expertise in this area of life. So people should, I think, just do a little research, and if they can find these resources wherever they live, just make contact if they want to, or just keep, their phone number close by, so that when you are hit with that, that Mack truck of unexpected sadness,
Yeah.
all you have to do is just make a phone call, and they can show up and help fill in the gaps.
Mm.
So just be a little prepared. I know, again, that's probably hard for some parents to think of, but
Yeah. Mm.
it's I think it's worth noting that you should be aware that there are people that can help you. There are services available to you that could
Mm.
really be worthwhile to at least have on speed dial if you do need them.
Yeah. And I like how you related buying a house or buying a car. You get insurance first. Just a little bit of planning can help immensely if the worst happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And advice as a husband to any men out there going through this, whose wives are going through pain, just try and be in it with them. I know there's probably many guys out there that have a hard time, expressing their emotions, being in their emotions, but really try to just be in it. Don't try and fix it, because you can't
Yeah.
fix it. You can't stop
Yeah.
it. Just be in it with them,
Yeah.
and just take it all in, and help them as best that you can. Support them with whatever they want to do and feel, and just show them love, and just be all that you can for that short period of time, because it doesn't last long, and it never goes away either. So
Yeah.
it's really important, I think, to just be there, just be in it, and just take it in. I guess for any mothers out there, the one thing that I think really helped Catherine following giving birth was she was able to pump her breast milk for a period of time afterwards, and she was able to donate it to a local organization that takes it all, distributes it to all the neonatal units in the hospitals in
Yeah.
Western Canada. So she was able to do that, and I think for her that was really, I think, therapeutic, and
Yeah.
it was a way for her to really honor our girls, and just give the last bit of herself to
Yeah.
to somebody else in their name. And that was really a really beautiful thing, and just for people to know that you can do that
Yeah.
if you are able to. That was, I think, really helpful, and it just kind of completed the whole circle of events for us from start to finish. So
Well, that was very nice. Very nice of Catherine to do that. Like,
it was, yeah, it was
I'm
it was really unexpected, and it was really a struggle. It
yeah.
was really hard to watch her do that, because you're supposed to have a baby to feed
Yeah.
right afterwards.
And a
Um,
constant reminder that what should be is not. But
yeah, it is. It's just endless reminders, but it was a really great way to honor and, in a
yeah.
small way, memorialize the girls, and ensure that they didn't live and die in vain or anything like that. So
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dave.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. This was very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, so it was great to chat and talk with you as well. Ciao.
Awesome. Ciao.